Squier versus Squier, new Squier Esquire Edition. Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and today we are going to talk about two new Squier guitars. Both have been released in the past few months in 2023. Both are Telecasters, and both are Esquires. So what's the difference, and which one should you get? Should you get the one that's a little bit more, or should you just go with the bare bones? Let's find out. So what are these new Squiers? Well, first we have the Sonic Esquire, which was released a few months ago. It comes in purple or ultraviolet and Arctic white, I believe. And then on the other side, we have the Paranormal Series Esquire Deluxe Telecaster. That comes in a metallic black and mocha. So right off the bat, if you have a very strong color preference, you might start to lean in one way or the other. The big thing that's really noticeable other than the color is the headstock. The Esquire Deluxe from the Paranormal series has a fat headstock, not the traditional telly that the standard Esquire has. Again, that's largely an aesthetic thing. However, with a different headstock, I should say, the Deluxe from the Paranormal series has a maple fingerboard, and the Esquire from the Sonic series has a rosewood fingerboard. In my opinion, if you're just going off of looks alone, as much as I love purple, I do have to admit that the Paranormal series one looks way better to me. I'm a big fan of a Telecaster Deluxe. I have one from the Ventura series, the Road Worn, upstairs. I love that guitar. It's a great instrument. It looks really nice. But is it more than 2 times the price nice? Would you rather pay $429 for the Paranormal series Esquire Deluxe, or just 200 bones for the first one, like the Sonic? That's like an affinity kind of pricing. It's really affordable. $200 that's really, really tempting. And when you look at other elements of this guitar, you might be asking yourself, well, if I upgrade the Sonic to have some of those features I want, obviously not a headstock, maybe even a new neck, you can use a neck at your choice when the guitar is $200, because you can get some necks that aren't really that much money, or of course you can get like a Porsche of guitar necks, but don't really recommend doing that to a Squier. Let's talk about some of the specs. The looks aren't the only differences, and neither is the price. The Esquire from the Sonic series has a standard Squier humbucking pickup that's uncovered. So if you don't know much about humbuckers, they eliminate that 60 cycle hum, so they are quieter. In some cases, it can be perceived as a loss of a little bit of high-end clarity and a little bit more muddiness, so it's a bit of a trade-off. So the Paranormal series also does have a humbucker in the bridge. That is basically what's making this an Esquire. They are using the Fender-designed wide range humbucker, which some people say isn't really truly wide range. I don't have a big preference on it. Again, I have those in a guitar. I like them a lot. What's interesting about this is the Paranormal series guitar has where the normal pickup control selector would be. It has a 3-way chicken head rotary switch, and one of those positions is just normal humbucker. The other one will bypass the tone and the volume, and the third position will split that humbucker into a single coil, essentially giving you 2 unique sounds through the bridge pickup of the Paranormal Esquire Deluxe. Now, how much it actually sounds like a single coil is kind of up for debate. I always think it sounds pretty close but not exact, and I wouldn't at all expect it to sound like a standard Telecaster bridge pickup, which is, what you think about when you think about that Telecaster sound usually. Of course, if you're getting an Esquire guitar with a humbucker in the bridge, you're probably going for more of a Blink-182 kind of vibe, probably a little bit more punk rock, a little bit less country, but hey, if you want to split that humbucker into a single coil and have more diversity in your tones, I think it's a pretty easy decision. So those are the biggest biggest differences, they both have the 6-saddle hardtail bridge. I don't know if they're the exact same one, but they're the same vibe, same design. That's just going to make intonation a lot easier to set up. Most Telecasters generally have a 3-saddle bridge. It's a little bit harder to like dial in things like distance between the nut and the bridge. That affects intonation. Intonation being essentially something you check at the 12th fret. So you want a note to be the exact same on your tuner in hertz at the 12th fret when that's pressed as it is open, that octave. You want it to be the exact same pitch. If it's not, you do have to adjust those saddles, and this bridge system makes that a lot easier. Now let's talk a little bit more about the neck. We mentioned before that the Paranormal Deluxe Telecaster, it has a maple fingerboard. The back is also maple, and it is a gloss neck finish. Talking about the tuning machines, those are vintage style split shaft tuning machines. That's my personal preference. It's not everybody's, so that might sway you one way or another. The Sonic Esquire has a satin neck finish and modern style tuning machines with a rosewood fretboard. Personally, I do prefer a maple fingerboard on a Telecaster. I have both. I don't think it hugely matters, but I just like it a little bit more. There are a few other similarities for these guitars. They both have the same, I believe it's narrow, tall fret wire, synthetic bone nut, 4mm hex adjustment from the head for the truss rod, though the Paranormal also specifies it's a single action. Both have a radius of 9.5 inches on the fingerboard. Both have 25.5-inch scale length. Both have 1.650-inch nut width. So a lot of ways these are very much standard Fender guitars. Those are very normal features in a Fender guitar. When we're talking about the differences, and let's recap this, the first thing I think you should consider is the price. The Paranormal is $429. The Sonic is $199. Neither of those are particularly expensive guitars, but the price point may be enough to sway you either way. Personally, when I'm paying $200 for a Fender guitar, I'm operating under the assumption I am going to want to upgrade at least the wiring, probably the pickups. So are you going to spend the difference on upgrading the pickups and maybe upgrading the wiring? If you are, then you're going to want to look at the other elements of the guitar, like which neck do you prefer, a satin finish? I prefer a satin finish. When we look at the colors, I love purple, but I'm not feeling that brand of purple. The ultraviolet doesn't really do it for me. I feel like a purple needs a little bit of some sort of sparkle in it to really shine. Otherwise, that particular shade, it doesn't speak to me. If it was more like a lavender, I don't think it would need more like a pastel-y color, but that color purple, to me, it just doesn't look great. But let's talk about some of the other elements of this guitar that are different. The tuning machines, that's not a deal breaker either way for me. Again, I prefer the vintage style tuners. So for me, that's another point to the Paranormal series guitar. The Paranormal series guitar also comes with more tonal possibilities. Both the standard tone and volume control work, bypass tone and volume control, and split that bridge into a single coil. And I really do think it's probably coming with a better sounding pickup stock. I would have to mod this guitar a lot less. I might not even mod that one at all, to be completely honest. It seems like it's basically set up in a way that those are the mods that I would do anyway on an Esquire style guitar with a humbucker in the bridge, you know? If I bought the Sonic version, the first thing I would do, even before swapping the pickup, is I'd swap the wiring and install a push-pull to split that single coil. So for the time that I would spend doing those really common mods, I would just get the Paranormal series guitar. It's not that much more expensive, $230. I mean, it's more than double the price, but for the time, for the added money, because you might be upgrading the hardware too, like to get a new pickup and to upgrade the wiring harness. I don't think, unless you're getting a really, really fancy pants pickup, I don't think that's going to cost you $230. I mean, especially if you do the work yourself. But it could if you go for really, really premium parts and a $200 guitar, which I am a big fan of. Well, there you have it. Those are the big differences that I thought were most worth talking about, because people were asking me, well, you know, Squier came out with 2 Esquire style guitars. Which one is better? And if you're just looking at features, mainly the wiring and the pickup, I do think the Paranormal series is a better guitar. I think that the Sonic Esquire is going to be a totally fine guitar and something you're more likely to mod because it doesn't already come with those modifications. So if you're looking for a project or just a bang around guitar that you don't have to think about or worry about, the Sonic series, that's your one. That's your guitar. If you want something that's a little bit more ready out of the box with a few fancier, more premium touches, Paranormal series. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in getting either of these guitars, please consider using the Sweetwater affiliate link in the video description. It's a great way to support the channel, doing things you were probably going to do anyway. And I always appreciate it when somebody does use that link. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/get offset. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to our exclusive Discord server. We have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com. If you're watching during the premiere, you can drop a super chat right now. And if you're not watching during the premiere but wish that you were, like, comment, subscribe, namely subscribe, turn on notifications, and you will see when one of our premieres starts. I think usually you get a 30-minute warning even. If you're watching after the premiere but still want to support the channel, you can say thanks down below. Again, my favorite ways to support the channel are to like, comment, and subscribe, and those don't cost you any extra money. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. You look good. Keep doing what you do. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.